don't want to get political or anything, but it's really LeBron over MJ no matter what day you ask me.
The man on the Lakers.
He's the GOAT. But that opinion is controversial to some of you, and many of you think that way, are probably getting knee replacements and hip surgeries. But regardless, we got our crowning of a new GOAT this past weekend for Magic the Gathering. Seth Manfield is the winner of Magic World Championship 31 with Is It Lessons. But it was a win mired in controversy, everything going well up until that last match where a rules decision set the Magic world ablaze. The ruling has a lot of people questioning the judges in the game as well as the integrity of competitive Magic. Some people are calling out Seth for certain things, but I wanted to use this video to break it all down. Is Seth Manfield the cheater that many people are trying to call him, or is he a well-deserved champion? Let's break down the clip itself, the ruling, and how we ultimately land on Seth Manfield, our newest Magic World Champion. This is Manfield's second World Championship title, and he won it in the same city as his first one exactly 10 years ago. Congratulations again, Seth. Now, Seth Manfield, again, as mentioned, one of the GOATs. The Hall of Fame induction along with the 2015 World Championship should already kind of cement him as one of the greatest Magic players out there, playing since the year 2000. But now with the second World Championship victory alongside, Pro Tour and Mythic Invitational champion, 17 Grand Prix top 8s, 10 top finishes, and a numerous kind of group of other accolades to his name, Seth Manfield is undoubtedly one of the greatest Magic players ever, still currently to this day, and one that's been playing for over a decade more than before we cared about a command zone. Someone that has truly changed the game in many ways. And honestly, me personally, one of my favorite parts about the World Championship is not only, of course, seeing the competition and seeing who gets there, but ultimately the card that we get to be inspired by Seth Manfield. I can't wait. Like, we're going to be getting our World Championship card from last year in Lore When Eclipsed, which is a lot of people are talking about just being like a creature tutor. But when it comes to Seth Manfield, I'm really excited. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below as to what card or what type of card you think would best suit Seth Manfield as a World Championship winner. So that's always something I'm looking forward to. Now, he piloted Is It Lessons, the breakout deck of the standard format. And in many ways, we banned all of these red cards in the past year. We banned Vivi out of standard to slow down Is It, and it kind of worked. In the weird in-between format we had between the banning and before the release of Avatar, it was Dimir mid-range up at the top, and Avatar came in and had this like almost Modern Horizons effect on the standard format. Like, you cannot be playing standard right now at any high level, at any competitive level, without playing with Avatar cards to a high degree. I mean, Is It Lessons is a deck that is quite literally impossible without the Avatar set. We have Badger Mole Cub all over the format, and now with Magic Worlds, we're going to see the format kind of normalize going into the RCQ season. We're going to start to see archetypes really cement themselves. We're going to start to see sideboards warp and main boards adjust to the type of decks that we're going to be playing against. And the kind of novel interaction here is the fact that Gran, the 1 mana card here, says whenever if you have 3 lessons in your graveyard, your non-creature spells cost 1 less to cast. That means something like Accumulate Wisdom here says for 2 mana, you can look at the top 3 cards of your library and put 1 of them in your hand, rest at the bottom. But if you have 3 or more lessons in your graveyard, you can just put all 3 in your hand. Now, that's not drawing cards, but it's functionally just ancestral. Pay 1 mana with Gran out because it's going to cost 1 less, and you just have ancestral in standard. Folks, we are doing powerful things in blue, and of course Seth Manfield is going to be piloting something like this all the way to a victory, with not only tempo parts to this, with win conditions and Monument of Endurance, just powerful Magic cards that you are seeing in all formats. You're seeing in Pioneer, you see it every so often in Modern as well, when it comes to usually alongside of like discard shenanigans in Red, Hollow Vine, and stuff like that. Monument of Endurance being a win condition is no surprise to anybody, but alongside the Is It package, which we've thought to be banned out of the format, now having 3 distinct Is It decks in the format, plenty of combo strategies. We saw Reanimator make a big way up to the top as well. I imagine we will see an insanely powerful standard moving forward with Avatar. Now, after that, we obviously see a lot of kind of fun little memes and anecdotes about ancestral recall in standard and everything. I thought this tweet by Nikachu was kind of funny. But then we also passed the Is It Lessons deck, which, by the way, is available. All the deck lists are completely up, so go check this list out from Seth Manfield. I'm definitely going to be posting a video about this later this week. I'm really excited to play this deck out. But this standard metagame is one where not only do we have a lot of aggressive strategies in them, we have a lot of, as mentioned, combo strategies. And with the complicated nature of so many different decks out there, right? There's a lot of, again, not only just the aggro combo decks, but there's a lot of control decks out there as well. A lot of intricate interactions that can lead to victories and or losses based on the decisions that you make. You are drawing a lot of cards, you are doing a lot of damage. There is a lot of back and forth, although other content creators, maybe like myself with our clickbait titles, may not have you believe that. There is a lot of interaction in the standard format, and whether or not Is It Lessons ultimately ends out at the top is another kind of discussion. But there's a lot of room for error in this format. You have to play it, you have to know your lines, and standard is really interesting right now. But with that in mind, mistakes can be made even at the top level. As I mentioned, a lot of variety in this format, and it is going to further normalize. We're going to see Is It Lessons probably kind of sneak its way up into the top, but those mistakes can also extend to our winners in Seth Manfield. Now, we got this tweet, and this is where it kind of like started for me yesterday. Because I missed the finals match. I was heading out for a dinner for a friend of mine for their birthday coming out later this week. They're going to be kind of away the weekend after, so we're doing something beforehand. So I was like, okay, I was kind of just passively trying to stay, aware of what's going on through Twitter and everything. Saffron Olive puts out, did we just get a commander style take back in MTG World's top 8? Folks, I don't believe I didn't have this bookmark, but what do we mean? Commander style take back. Folks, let's get into it. What happened to Seth Manfield? I'm going to link this down below. This is up on the YouTube here. And I think it's going to be very important to really address this. I'm going to keep my headphones on for like the rest of this. And let me put myself down at the bottom right here. Let me shift myself downward. By the way, this is the final match that led Seth Manfield to winning the game. When it comes down to the World Championship, this is what crowned him the victor. If my speaker will just like whatever, if my speaker will just turn off, let's hop right into it. This is going to be the board state that we're at, noting that Seth Manfield is up 2-0 against our opponent here, Ken. And we are Is It Lessons versus Sultai Reanimator. Shout out to Sultai Reanimator for actually making it this deep. The only non kind of Is It style shell. Now, of course, there's Teamer and everything. I was being a little disingenuous on Twitter for those of you who kind of saw my tweet, but really the one big difference maker here. And so when it comes down to this board state, Seth also has a very low deck count. So drawing cards is very problematic here. Full graveyard, insane board in terms of, Monument of Endurance. Obviously, if you're discarding cards and you're able to kind of trigger the monument enough, you are going to be able to win the game. So what does Seth decide to do here?
You have to rummage 5 times.
What is going on here?
He does have Storm Chaser's talent.
Yep.
Okay,
so you're gonna see
reset the monument here, right? By Boomerang Basics,
and he needs to do 3 life like every chance he can get. Right.
So he rummages off of this, drains your opponent for 3.
So if we kind of back up here, if we just back up just a bit here, so you're gonna see right there. He says Boomerang the Basics. Ken Yukihiro says, "Yup." He acknowledges that resolves. That spell has resolved. There's no response to it. And it's not like Ken really had a response anyway. He has 1 card in hand. It's the Spider-Man. Like, it's not like he had a counter spell. But regardless, the spell's put on the stack and it is resolved, right? We're going to notice in the deck 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 4 cards left in deck here. And Seth is trying to Boomerang Basics to return the monument to hand to reset the monument, right? At this point, beforehand, what's happening before, what's happening after, not necessarily the most relevant thing in the world, but regardless, we are trying to get Ken down from 13 to 0, and we don't have that many cards left in deck. So Boomerang Basics also draws you a card. It forces you to draw a card if that permanent is your own. So based on the amount of cards that are left in the deck that is very low, what do we do about that? That's a very crazy decision to be making.
Okay, you get to reset the monument here, right? By Boomerang Basics.
And he needs to do 3 life like every chance he can get, right?
So he rummages off of this, drains your opponent for 3, picks pick it up, then you can replay it. Don't rummage off the artist talent, of course.
Right.
And then cast another spell. But he doesn't have enough cards left in his deck unless he finds the second Monument to Endurance.
Is this for real right now?
But remember, the bottom...
Can I take this back or no?
The spell has resolved. We've been thinking about it. We're actually, if you notice on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, it's right next to my camera. Seth actually puts a card down. He's about to resolve the artist talent trigger. He's about to resolve these triggers, by the way, right? So, okay. He asks, can I take this back?
I don't...
I already cast it.
Well, you can't take this back. Come on now.
It's fine.
Even the commentators are like, you can't take this back.
He cast it.
Okay. Okay.
What?
You have how many cards in hand?
One.
Wait. So he didn't cast the Boomerang Basics now?
I guess he
Oh,
didn't.
wow.
That is... All right. So...
Folks, we allowed Seth Manfield, World Champion, Hall of Famer, to take back a card, a commander style take back, by the way, of a card that was cast that can acknowledge resolves. Priority was passed. The spell is on the stack. The card from Seth's hand actually all pretty much left his hand. Like, we saw the card leave his hand and hit and touch the graveyard. That, of course, he didn't let go of the card. It's one thing to say like, oh, you know, once you move your chess piece and you let it go, like that's where it is, and like all that stuff. Like, we were in the process of resolving our artist talents triggers, right? And so why are we allowed to take this back, right? What's going on here? Is Seth Manfield a cheater? Is he taking advantage of rules just to win the game? I mean, he is up 2-3, right? Or sorry, 2-0. He is up 2-0. But of course, Ken, maybe, if Seth makes the wrong decision here, potentially has the ability based on, you know, maybe going to another game and, you know, Seth just mulliganing bad or just drawing bad hands. Ken could potentially make the comeback and win. Every decision matters here. In a game of Magic, no matter how favorable the matchup is, that is one of the beautiful things about Magic. Anything can turn back in your favor. We've seen this happen time and time again in high-level tournaments. Every decision matters. So what happens here? Is Seth the take back? Can I take this back Manfield? An actual cheater? Is he a rule shark? Is he taking advantage of something that you shouldn't be able to take advantage of? Well, I mean, some people would have you believe this. Blake, you know, I'm not a blue check marker, but a blue check marker says, this Worlds match is so incredibly bad. This judge is either bought or was found outside before the event started. Seth is getting away with cheat after cheat. Insane. That's a wild claim right now. And I bet, you know, Rebel here says, chat's going nuts. I bet the chat was going nuts. I cannot believe this was actually a thing that happened. But if we go to this from a rules perspective, taking back actions, we can actually dig down further into the MTG resources and see that in terms of reversing decisions from a judge's perspective, players are expected to consider their options before taking an action, and players are not usually allowed to take back an action that has been communicated to their opponent either verbally or physically. Again, we have played the spell. Ken has acknowledged the resolution of the spell. We were actually almost about to resolve the artist talent trigger. If you go back into that video, if you go to that timestamp in that video, you see the card on camera. My man, I was about to put it down. He's like, hold on, can I take it back? You know? And as here, chess has something called the touch move rule, which means that if a player touches a piece on the board on their turn, they are bound to move that piece or capture opponents if they have a legal move. In Magic, a legal action, either by moving a card by verbally confirmation, no blocks, for example, might look alike to that chess rule. Sometimes, though, a player will realize that they made a wrong decision after making a play. If that player has not gained any information since taking that action and they wish to make a different decision, a judge may allow that player to change their mind. Judges must carefully consider whether that player has gained information since making the play and that it might have affected that decision. In particular, players may not try to use opponents' reactions or lack thereof to see if they should modify those actions committed, right? You can't just like fake a move and be like, oh, wait, hold on, they might have a response. I'm gonna kind of hold it back here. And so we have some examples here. Example, a player plays an island and before anything else happens says, sorry, I meant to play a swamp. A player says no blocks, immediately followed by wait, no, I block with this creature. A player says go, wait, land go, right? And that happens, right? You're like, oh yeah, sorry, go, oh, no, hold on, sorry, land, you go. These all feel like commander-isms at this point, but maybe that's like maybe using that as like a negative slur at this point. Calling this like a commander-ism might actually just be a net negative. But we see that in the comprehensive rules, in terms of judge resources, at least for tournament Magic, for judge resources, this is actually laid out in the rules. So this is actually a reasonable thing that a judge can do. And based on the scenario that we saw, outlining that again, and again, if I have missed anything, please let me know in the comment section down below. As far as I'm aware, Seth Manfield went to resolve a Boomerang Basics, a sorcery speed bounce spell that says you can bounce any permanent, right? I believe it's non-land permanent. If you control that permanent, you draw a card. Seth goes to resolve that card. He casts that card on his own Monument of Endurance to reset the monument. Because it's his own card, he will draw a card off of a I believe it was 4, not 5 card library, which really reduces the clock that he has because his win condition is discarding cards, triggering the Monument of Endurance to deal 3 damage to Ken so that he can win the game. So that would be a big decision point to reduce that. Then what happens is in response to that, after that cast happens, Ken acknowledges that cast and says, sure. Actually verbally go back in the recording. He says, sure. So priority is passed. Ken acknowledges it. And then the triggers of the Artist Talent Resolve, which says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you discard a card if you do draw a card, right? So if you discard a card, you draw a card. Then he was about to resolve it. If you looked at the bottom corner of this side of my camera, look over my hands on this side of the camera, you go back in that video, he was about to put that card in. We actually saw that card being about to be put in the graveyard. And then he says, can I take that back? As far as I'm aware, no information was actually gained based on what I am seeing. So from a judging perspective, a pure judging perspective, I think the ruling is fine. Right? Based on the rules outlined, no information was gained by Seth. He did not draw a card as far as I'm aware, unless I missed that. Maybe I missed that. He did not draw. If he drew a card, then if Seth drew a card, this ruling is absolutely incorrect and the win is kaput. The win is kaput. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, right? And potentially he could have won the match after. He could have still won that same match. We just don't know that outcome at this point. We do not know that outcome. Right? Because again, he's up 2-0. He's up 2-0 in a best of 3 match. But no information was gained by Seth at that point. He can take that back. Okay? Now, from an integrity perspective, should this be a thing that they allow in Magic Worlds? Now, that is a more open discussion. That's where I hope to go to the viewers out here. What do you think should have happened here? Do you think that it even matters that we made that decision based on the context of the situation? Or do you think it matters specifically, at least bare minimum, maybe you have another reason, but bare minimum, do you believe that it matters for the integrity of competitive Magic? Do you believe like this decision should have even happened? That the judges should have allowed this to happen? Do you feel like there was some fear that this was a judge making a decision on a Magic World Championship, a Hall of Fame player that maybe could have gotten back on them, that they could have had a hate parade gone after them? Because especially now we know the Judge Academy doesn't really exist in a formal organized body. It is really just a Wild West and kind of decided by organizers. And that we recently had Wizards of the Coast, I made a video on this, plenty of people have, posted a job description for a new organizer, a person in charge of the judge ruling body here at Wizards of the Coast. Now, that is a decision that we will probably see come to fruition next year and the kind of downstream effects of that. But for now, judging is still kind of widely in the open. It's kind of maybe not the tight-knit body that we'd want it to be, although I would hope that it is. I, for one, still am pro-judge. I think judges are an integral part of Magic the Gathering, and I think that we should be continuing to support them while also holding them honest. That is, of course, true for any governing body. We should be able to trust those governing bodies while also equally holding them honest. With all that being said, for the second and third time here, I trust judges. And I think the decision here, based on the information we have, was correct in the judge's sense, or at least in the sense that they were able to make that decision. It was in their wheelhouse to do so. Should they have done it? Should this have happened? I don't know. I generally believe, I think this is fine. I think, in my personal opinion, I don't believe Seth to be a cheater. I don't believe for him to be some type of rules manipulator, to purposely forget his chalice triggers or whatever it is. I think Seth Manfield is a class act of a Magic player. I think he got here through pure skill. I think he played those matches through pure skill. And I think he ultimately got the victory that he deserved. This situation, I think, will be broken down even further. A lot of controversy and discussions will happen about this, and I'm curious to see if anything more happens even farther from it. Right now, we have Marvel spoilers happening tomorrow as of the recording of this video. We have so much happening in the world of Avatar and a changing standard metagame as well, that this just feels like another small little blip in the vast kind of scheme of things, but maybe leaves a long-lasting stain for a lot of people. Competitive Magic has been a controversial thing for a little bit. The joke of calling something competitive Magic, or the state of competitive Magic, is an interesting discussion for many, with formats being supported and not being supported, and the amount of releases that we have that add to competitive Magic. It's a really interesting time to be a high-level Magic player. There's a lot of decisions to be made at any point in the game, and I'm really curious what your thoughts are. I'm hoping that we can have a civil discussion about this. I'm happy to be wrong. If there is reasonable doubt to the decision made here, maybe. And again, based on the situation, even if he is found that like that game was like not like it was ultimately, that's not how it should have been ruled, it does seem like Seth Manfield likely would have won the game, but of course, we will never know the other outcome, because due to the variance in the game, Ken obviously could have still mounted a 4-2 comeback against 4-2 as in, or sorry, not 4-2, a 3-2 comeback against Seth to win it if he was given one more opportunity to play out some games. We don't know at this point.